Let's quickly then have a look at this weekend's game. Liverpool taking on Southampton. Southampton are 20th in the Premier League, also known as dead fucking last. They have 9 points and are very much shaping up to be one of the worst teams in Premier League history by points tally. They need one more win to avoid finishing with less points than Derby County. But it does look like they're going to finish in, the bottom 2 or 3 in Premier League history in terms of points won. We've talked about it a few times this season. Obviously, Russell Martin, you phrased it really well when you spoke about how, the kind of arrogance and ego behind a lot of their performances as a result of him having his vision and not wanting to move away from it. They then decided to get rid of him, and then they replaced him with another kind of idealist in Ivan Juric, rather than going for someone who's more of a pragmatist, who might have come in and just been able to sort of grind out a couple of results and maybe give them even a bit of a puncher's chance. They're 13 points behind Wolves. Like, they've got little or no chance of staying up, very much leaning to no chance.
No chance.
They're dreadful. But I don't think they should be, Karl, because I think there's some really good players there.
Yeah, we spoke about this. I can't remember what it was. A couple of weeks back, we were talking about how many points we think they'll get and where they will be in that all-time rubbish table, if you like. And we said at the time, they shouldn't be anywhere near where they are. Like, I know he's obviously had a much quieter, let's say, last 6 months or whatever you want to say, 4 months, whatever. And you expect that because A, he's a kid, and B, he's playing in an awful team, and plenty of other reasons there besides, such as, injury and all the rest of it. But Tyler Dibbling alone, if you've got a player of that quality and a couple of players around him, you get more than 2-3 wins a season. End of discussion. It is such bad management and, defensive setup coaching, we would normally call it. It's horrific how bad they've been in points terms, despite in technical terms not being that bad.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But what's also incredible is like how many players they've signed this year. Like, this is the list. These are just the senior players. Howard, Bellis, Lallana, Taylor, Edwards, Wood, Sugawara, Downs, Brereton Diaz, Archer, Juan, Matthias Fernandez, Ryan Fraser, Aaron Ramsdale, Wellington, Victor Uda. Those are the permanent signings. There's also a raft of other players that they've signed and loaned out to the other club that they own, Göztepe in Turkey. There's a couple of others that have been loaned to other clubs as well. And then they've loaned in Obichukwu, Max Cornet, who did so badly he left in January, Rory McLeod, and Albert Gronbeck. Like, they've signed 20 players. Like, that's never worked. Nobody's ever done this and stayed up. And I understand why they signed Flynn Downs, because he was such a key part in getting them up. I was on board with the Howard Bellis signing. I think Ronnie Edwards and Nathan Wood can be really good players for them in the long haul. Sugawara looks a decent player. Brereton Diaz was a disaster, and he's now gone on loan to Sheffield United, and it's just been so messy for them this season. But I look at their squad and I think, I don't get this. I don't get how you can be this bad. Aaron Ramsdale, he's nobody's idea of a great goalkeeper. But this is going to be his third relegation from the Premier League. So my theory is he's not good enough to play for an elite level club. But in a funny way, he's also not good enough to play for a really bad team. He kind of has to play for someone who's bang in the middle of the table. Because if he's got too little to do, his focus goes. And if he's got too much to do, the other flaws in his game, like his delightful habit of palming things back into the middle of his own box, they all creep out. He's a very weird goal. This will be his first career relegation, by the way, which is a spectacular achievement, given he'll only turn 27 in May. Yeah, it's been 3 years of that at Arsenal, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was going to say, I don't think he's the biggest problem that they have. I don't think they have a single biggest problem other than everything they do, if you know what I mean. Like, it does all come together to give them such a ridiculous struggle in every single game. Like, because they have a goalkeeper who's like that, who isn't, let's say, reliable, but even though when he's good, he can still make difficult to account for moments. I don't know. It's the setup, the formation at the beginning of the season, you can argue, certainly that stupid insistence of playing out in the way that they did, the lack of real physicality that they had in midfield at the start of the season, using people out of position or out of their best roles. They never really had any kind of combinations up front. I don't know. It was very, very, very poor first half of the year, and just hasn't really changed.
No, the second half hasn't been any better. In their first, they played 27 games, so we split the season into 14 and 13. In the first 14 games, they took 5 points, and in the last 13 games, they've taken 4 points. So it's just been a continuous march of abysmal performances and hammerings. Like, they've taken a bunch of hammerings this season. But you know, you look at the squad, right? Ramsdale, he's nobody's idea of a great goalkeeper, but you know, like you said, he's not the issue. He is not the issue. You could easily line up a good back four with the players they have. Kyle Walker-Peters is a good right back. He's not a great right back, but he's a good right back. Charlie Taylor is proven quantity in the Premier League. He's a little bit past his best now. But if you could have him or Ryan Manning at left back, that's grand. That's fine. Harwood Bellis is a solid centre-back who I think has good potential to be a good centre-back. But he is about to experience his second relegation from this division, which isn't ideal by any stretch. I don't understand why Bella Kotchap was just ignored for half the season or most of the season. Maybe he wasn't fully fit, but he's far better than the drops they've been lining up with. Like, nobody's going to convince me that Jack Stevens should still be playing in the Premier League at this point, or Jan Bednarak. Nobody's convincing me of that. And then you've got Nathan Wood and the fella that they loaned out, Ronnie Edwards. They're both solid young defenders that you can develop. But that could have been a decent enough defence. It's not good, but decent. Like, enough to keep you afloat. In midfield, you bring in Ogochukwu. He's a good player. I don't understand why they loaned out Shea Charles, because to me that would have been a strong midfield pairing. You've got Matthias Fernandez, a natural 10. You've wasted him in all manner of positions this year. You could add Dibbling and Suleiman on the wings. They've caused plenty of problems for plenty of teams. And then up front is where you're really lacking, because you came into the season with Cameron Archer, who doesn't have a track record of scoring at the Premier League level. Ben Brereton Diaz, who doesn't have a track record of scoring at the Premier League level, though did pretty well on his loan with Sheffield United last season. I think he got 6 league goals. And Adam Armstrong, who's great in the Championship. Like, a tremendous Championship striker. 16, 28 and 21 goals in his last 3 Championship seasons. But in the Premier League, 2 goals in 23, 2 goals in 30, and this season 2 goals in 20. Not good enough at the Premier League level. So how did you think you were going to score enough to stay up? You know, they've conceded 65. So that's obviously been an issue. But much of that is a result of how they were playing. And like you said, this insistence on constantly playing out from the back. I think I saw someone say after about match week 15, they'd already conceded 10 goals through errors in their own build-up that led to opposition goals. If you could cut all of that shit out, your defensive record would be still poor, but it wouldn't be atrocious. It wouldn't be sending you down. But you still wouldn't have the goals to make up for. So you had a bad strategy at the back, and you didn't have a reliable goal scorer from. I also missed the big fella up front, Onuachu. I don't think he'd scored in the Premier League before this season, if I'm correct. I think he's got 2 so far this season, but he did miss a bunch of games.
I mean, like, I think people like Onuachu, for example, just to take him because we're speaking about him, are fine for them. How you use them and who is around them. Like, Onuachu's never going to be your 15 a season player in the Premier League, but he can be the player who facilitates 15 goals elsewhere. Like, the size of him, his ability to carry the ball like long distances upfield, the hold-up play is pretty good. He's obviously a bit of a target at the very least for set pieces and so on like that. If you have people around him and if you play in a manner which befits his style, he can be your centre forward. Like, if you don't fuck about with the ball between Bednarek, Howard, Bellis and Ramsdale 16 times in one build-up, but you actually go long, for example, some of the time, not telling them they have to go long, not telling them you've got to play route one or nothing like that. I'm saying about having a symbiosis, let's say, between the way you play and build up and the players you actually have available to you. Like, Bednarek is not a ball-playing defender who is going to be able to bypass the most highly pressing attacks. He just isn't. Aaron Ramsdale has never been that.
No. What Aaron Ramsdale's good at? He can play an accurate long ball.
He can, yes.
So fucking play to his strengths.
Yeah. Aaron Ramsdale's not a goalkeeper to sweep up. Like, even when Arsenal were trying to choose who to play and all the rest of it, when they had Emi Martinez and Bernd Leno, right? And they chose Bernd Leno. Emi Martinez was always better at his off his line stuff, let's say, and his longer range passing, but not his shorter range passing. So they went with Leno based on a lot of passing metrics, yeah? Then they brought in Ramsdale to be better than him. He wasn't. He wasn't better than Leno. And Leno was not better than his predecessor at what he was supposed to do either. And now Ramsdale is in a team that do even more of that than Arsenal tried to do at the time. I don't understand where the plan was.
All right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts, and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at anfieldindexpro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.